All right, everyone, I'm back again. Let's do it one more time. Another new week, another off day for the most part in the minor leagues. I know the complex leagues still try to play. I'll talk about them eventually when things start to happen. But the kiddies down in the baby Mets in the Florida Complex League are not off to a great start, hitters or pitchers. So let me start off the show or do my usual routine. I want to start with the AAA guys, make my way down to low A, give some kind of updates, insight, some kind of coach talk, some kind of status reports. And I want to get to a few things, including we may have not one, but two long term professional starting pitchers in the minors who all of a sudden are in the Syracuse Mets pen. So I got to talk about that for sure. But let me start with AAA Syracuse, but let me start with the bats. Want to go with the prospect first and foremost. Let's go with Drew Gilbert. He played 5 games this week, 4 for 16, so it's kind of okay. He's 4 for 16 in this current week. He's got a double. For me, what's more important with Drew Gilbert right now, there's a lot of talk. Should he be called up right now? I don't know if Drew Gilbert is ready. But again, even with the stats, only 4 for 16, but what's important right now, 6 walks versus 2 Ks in the week. So he's not being fooled right now at AAA level. The defense, I think it's okay. He can play all 3 outfield positions. Again, that includes center field. So it is a possibility for Drew Gilbert. I think he has a strong enough arm either way. And again, the hitting, it's still coming along. And again, he's seeing the ball well. As far as the other guy everyone talks about, Ronnie Mauricio, he made his debut finally in AAA. He's officially now a AAA player. He's no longer in the rehab assignments. He was officially optioned this week. And in his debut in Syracuse, 2 for 4 with a strikeout and a stolen base, by the way. So you want to worry about how the leg's doing? Well, he stole a base in his debut at the level. And he also, by the way, defensively played second base. Let's see how things progress, what positions they're going to have him play throughout game to game. But again, game 1, second base, 2 hits, we'll take it. I posted about it. One of them was like 112 miles an hour. So he's still doing what he does when he makes contact. Let's see how he progresses. Now let's talk pitching. The Mets could always use pitching. There's never enough room. You always need arms. All of a sudden, very quietly, I was mentioning it last week. Got to talk about it again this week. Felipe De La Cruz, who had like the game of his professional career when he made his debut in AAA, and then all of a sudden he's no longer starting. Here we are again. For the new week, he's now made 2 appearances out of the bullpen in Syracuse. Again, he's a lefty. First appearance, an inning, 2 hits, 3 runs. His second appearance, 2 innings, 3 hits. I believe he gave up no runs, I think, in the second outing. He got killed by a home run in the first outing. Overall, looks like 2 walks and 3 Ks in his 3 total innings. This could be an adjustment period for Felipe De La Cruz. I know people are asking, especially when he had such an amazing outing. He's a lefty that throws 95 plus. Why would you take him away from starter? But you know what? AAA level, the Mets have a need at the major league level for a lefty. I've been hyping Felipe De La Cruz for what seems like a decade now. And he's still young. I love the idea of Felipe De La Cruz. It looks like they just want to have him be a 2-pitch pitcher. I know they've tried more in the last few years as a starter. Maybe they want to lower it, just boom, 2 pitches, get the fastball 95 plus, get the command working, and maybe we can get you to the majors. So you guys need to keep an eye on it, because if he gets called up, you heard it here first. It looked like there was a plan in place from about a week or so ago. All of a sudden, he's a full-time reliever. The other guy, all of a sudden, Dom Hamill, is now apparently, or on the box scores, he's a reliever. This is something I know some of you, including myself, might have been waiting on for a bit of a long time. And it looks like right now it's happening consistently. He also made 2 appearances, inning and 2/3, and then a 2-inning outing. A total of 3 hits allowed, one earned run, which was a home run. So the only earned run in the 2 outings was a homer. 3 walks, 4 Ks. So the walks are still happening. The K rate is still kind of high, which is per usual for him. But again, now we've got a lefty and a righty at the AAA level in the pen that are converted starters, at least as of now. I don't know how it's going to change, but this is going to be interesting development to follow. Hope you guys continue to follow along with me week to week. I want to keep giving updates specifically on these two pen arms to see if this is going to be a long-term thing and if they end up debuting for the Mets as soon as this season to give some depth and some help out of the bullpen. Lowering it to AA, a lot of guys to talk about because there's a lot of success going on. At the AA and the high A level, they have two of the best records in the leagues. So there's a lot of good things happening at both levels. In AA, my guy, Zach Thornton, Zach, every rose has its Thornton. He not only pitched once, but twice. So he's one of those guys now in the minor leagues. They have the 6-game schedule. They kept him on it, and they had him face the same team twice, which to me, it's not going to be easy, even at the major league level. When a team sees you twice in the same week, that's a lot of information. But guess what? 2 starts, a total of 12 innings, only 7 hits allowed, 2 earned runs, 0 walks, and 12 Ks. This has been the thing for Zach Thornton all season, from high A and now in AA. All he does is throw strikes. This is important, especially how you see now, even at the major league level. And I know a lot of guys falter when they get to AAA based on command. But here we have a guy throwing nothing but strikes all season long. He's already done it again this week in 2 outings facing the same exact team, which to me also tells me Zach Thornton is not scared, because when you throw those kind of strikes to the same team twice, he's not worried. He believes in his stuff. He seems to throw pretty much everything at this point. The fastball looked like it was more 91, 92-ish as far as where he was sitting. I did see him top 95 in the last outing, the second outing of the 2. So he still gets to 94, 95, probably still sits 91 and 93. But again, it's the breaking stuff. And he seems to throw everything. Changeup, curve, I think a cutter. He's got everything. And again, when you throw 2, 3, 4, 5 pitches max that he has, all for strikes, this is going to be an interesting development. And again, too, he's a left-handed pitcher. And I'm glad he's not converting to the pen. I always love the idea of Felipe De La Cruz as a possible pen arm, but Zach Thornton looks like a starter for sure. And he could be one of those kind of depth, mid to back end rotation kind of guys. I don't know if he's a future David Peterson or not, but I love the idea of him. He has more command at the minor league level than a David Peterson. So I want to see how he progresses, but I know coaches love him. They loved his last 2 outings here, so they're still excited about him. Now I want to talk about the 2 fireballers, Ryan Lambert, the right-hander, and Dylan Ross. These are guys that throw from 98 to 101. Lambert made 2 appearances this week in AA. They were both hitless innings, 2 walks, 2 Ks. I saw him in the last outing. He threw a lot of off-speed stuff too, so I believe it might have been a slider. So when you throw 98 plus and he's hitting them with the breaking stuff, he was dominating in the last outing. Probably why there's 2 hitless. He's not just throwing nothing but fastballs. I love that. On the reverse side, Dylan Ross is like, I don't care. Hit it if you can. He's had 2 scoreless appearances, 1 hit, 0 walks, and 2 Ks. Dylan Ross, only 2 appearances, but 0 walks for a guy who throws 101, which is what he topped in his last outing this week. That's exciting stuff. So you got guys like Lambert and Ross now throwing this kind of heat at the AA level. Only one more spot to go to get into that mix for the majors after that. The other guy who I want to keep talking about him all the time because he's like a project arm that keeps getting stronger and stronger. Douglas Oriana. I love him. I love his breaking ball. In the month of May, 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, only 1 walk in 6 innings, which for him, love. And 7 strikeouts, which makes sense to me because his stuff is pretty incredible. He's going to get his strikeouts no matter what. If he was able to maintain this kind of walk rate for a few more weeks, I don't know how you want to go. He's another guy who's going to belong in AAA at some point. Now we'll go to this other guy called Jonah Tong, who, you know what? Let's face it. If you want to have a live ranking system for the Mets organization, here's your number 1 pitching prospect right now as of May 19th. For the end of May, he's the best pitching prospect in the organization. Jonah Tong pitched another 6 shutout innings this week, to go along with his 6 no-hit innings the outing prior. So if you want to add it, I'll do the numbers. His last 2 starts combined, which were both at least 6 innings, 12 and 2/3, 2 hits allowed, no runs, 2 walks in 12 innings for him, which is incredible, and 21 strikeouts. He's one of the highest K rates of all of minor leagues. In the month of May, the opponent batting average against Jonah Tong in May is 105. So they're hitting 105 against them collectively in the month. That's what's happening. I see this, the back and forth. Does he have to maybe project out as a future like elite pen arm, which I guess people are more consistently worried about the command. And I keep talking to coaches, including this week. They're like, listen, staff told me straight up, with consistent command, Jonah Tong is a frontline starter. So maybe it sounds like hype. It's coming from me saying it, but I'm hearing it from the Mets organization. So this is how they feel about Jonah Tong as a ceiling. So let me just use that term, ceiling. They see him as a frontline guy, with the big if. I'm excited to see how the K's keep rolling, but I'm more important checking in on the walks, but also just literally the strike throwing every outing. I want to see how he does for a few more weeks. You got to get him to AAA at some point. He's completely dominating this level. But I'm excited either way, and I want to see him use the AAA baseball. I've been saying this now for a few years. The baseball at AAA is different. It's actually the major league ball that they use in AAA also, but none of the other affiliates use the ball for some crazy reason. I don't know why, but now I want to see him and have him use the ball. I've talked to some other players at the AA level who've even said, well, I've used it a few times, and then it's a judgment call of some say it's not a huge deal. Others feel the differences. Either way, I want to see Jonah Tong use it. And by the way, I also want to see Lambert and Ross use it. The quicker they can get to the AAA, the better with those arms. As far as the bats, I just want to basically steal and piggyback off the information that Joe DeMayo posted on Twitter X this week. Let me just use it for the month of May for these guys because all 3 of them are hot. Jet Williams in May, 292, 424 on-base percentage, 521 slugging, 945 OPS. He's been stealing bases. Everyone always keeps asking me, and I have to keep giving the same answer. The Mets organization keeps putting him mostly at shortstop all season, including this week. I don't know why. It's what they're doing. But maybe they want to go with some of the guys doing well as far as center fielder a lot. Nick Morabito, who in May all of a sudden 309, 377 on base percentage, 455 slugging, 832 OPS. Now, Nick Morabito has struggled all of April. So this is exciting stuff now to see that he's going to that new route now. Now he's making the leap in player development after starting this season at the new level of AA, the show me level. And again, he steals bases all the time. I mean, he pretty much almost averages a stolen base a game. So especially in May, with him getting on base even more often, stolen bases are going to be high. The other guy, obviously, in the trifecta that you have to see the excitement is Ryan Clifford, the big red dog. He also hit 309 so far in May, 387 on base percentage, 582 slugging, 969 OPS. He's hit, I think, multiple home runs in May. This is exciting stuff. This is what we want to see out of him. This kind of hit tool. I don't know how often he'll hit 300 for a month or a week or no way in a season, but if he has this kind of hit tool with his power, this is going to be exciting because I know people have been worried again. Another guy hitting about 200 in April. What's going on with Ryan Clifford? Well, here's the update for May. He's now a 300 hitter, at least so far in May. So let's keep an eye on Ryan Clifford. If this continues to progress, I don't know how quick they would want to rush a guy like this because he's still young. I don't even know if they want to send him to AAA at all this season. But again, he's still repeating the level of sorts in AA. I want to see how many at-bats they feel he really needs before they move him up. And then, of course, I think they keep trying to sprinkle him one way or another between first base and right field. I don't think he's going to win a Gold Glove at either position, but is he going to be Vientos possibly, the version of Vientos at first base and right? Maybe, but let's see him hit his way to the majors regardless. As far as now Brooklyn, I could basically spend the rest of this show segment talking about the Brooklyn Cyclones because the entire team is loaded with prospects. Let me go down the list. One of my favorites that I want to bring up is Joel Diaz, only because I've been talking about him for like 3 years. And now is including his year off for Tommy John. This is now his second season post Tommy John, and he's having, I believe, the best season of his young-ish pro career because he's one of those IFA kids. He's been around many years, but he had the development issue. I was worried about command. Then he had Tommy John, which probably explained the poor command. And now here he is this week, 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 0 walks, and 6 Ks. I don't like 3 runs in 5 innings. It's not even a quality start, but I'll take the 0 walks and 6 Ks any day for Joel Diaz. And again, that's 5 innings pitched, and he didn't even start the game. They had other guys. They had rehabbers in St. Lucie. So he came in as a reliever, but then basically pitched a starter outing. I'm still really excited about Joel Diaz. Do I see him as a future starter rotation arm? I'm honestly not sure at this point. I don't know how many pitches, like a Felipe de la Cruz on the right-handed version for Joel. I don't know how consistent the Mets organization feel that his multiple pitches can be thrown for strikes. So I'm curious to see if they ever make the move for him down the line. But I like the idea of him going 3, 4, 5 innings right now every week still for the rest of this season. Let him eat the innings. Let's see how he progresses with his pitches in general. The one guy maybe taking a step back right now, could be for multiple reasons, is Matt Allen. And I know we've been waiting literally 5 years for him to pitch again in pro ball. This week has been rough. I believe it's been 2 outings, or let me just go with the whole month of May. Matt Allen in the month of May, 3 2/3 innings. He's allowed 3 earned runs. Here's the issue: 7 walks to the 3 Ks. So 7 walks, 3 2/3. When you read the box scores, the strike throwing is pretty low as well. So it looks like almost 50-50 some of the outings between balls and strikes. This is what's going on right now recently for Matt Allen. Something to keep an eye on. As far as I think the week prior, I've been checking some of the velo, and it looks like the fastball velo is still okay. I'm not seeing it dipping. I don't want to get everyone paranoid like he's throwing 91 or something. I've seen him still throwing 95, 96. He's still getting up there in velocity, so I don't think it's one of those issues. Maybe it's just a guy who hasn't pitched in 5 years now going through the grind of having to pitch every single week, finally in pro ball. But let's still keep an eye on it to see if the command can get better. It's probably the only reason why he's in low A still at this point, or now just getting into high A, sorry. So he's going to linger in this A ball all year until we can see probably the command. With a guy like this throwing this kind of ball, you can't see him in double A right now at the higher levels. But I like him still finishing right now in high A. Even if he has to finish the season in high A, it's going to be an accomplishment for so many years missed. One of those kind of, not surprise picks, but one of those, I don't know how to say it. Noah Hall is one of those guys who was described to me like, keep an eye on Noah Hall as more of a project type of pitcher. Project, player development. Let's see what we have. I want to talk about his May numbers. In May, 16 innings, only 8 hits allowed in 16 innings, only 2 earned runs, 8 walks, 13 Ks. So the command is still kind of iffy here and there, but this is still really good stuff overall for Noah Hall at the high A level. Something to keep an eye on. Then when it comes to command, I think I did this last week. I'm going to do it again. My guy, Saul Garcia, he has ridiculous stuff when it's in the zone. Let's just go for the season numbers again. He's pitched in 10 games out of the pen, all in high A, I believe. 9 2/3 innings, 2 hits. He's still only allowed 2 hits for the season in high A, 1 earned run, and then here we go. 9 2/3 innings, 11 walks, and then 19 strikeouts. This is what we still have going on for Saul Garcia. When I ask, even the staff are like, in a friendly way, we're frustrated because of how insanely talented he is. I believe his slider is just ridiculous. So they are obviously rooting for him because he's got some of the most electric stuff in the farm system as a pen arm. Can he be maybe even some future like Jerry's Familia maybe as a ceiling with this type of elite stuff? I don't know how much he's going to be able to command it. Uh, on another bright side, finally, Father Jonathan Santucci just had his best start of the season this week. I'm finally excited and happy to report him. I basically not even talking about him this season, but Jonathan Santucci, 5 innings, only 1 hit allowed, 0 earned runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks. This is something that staff told me to just wait on. So I was impatient. Staff told me, don't worry, it's coming with him. He's going to get good because the stuff is too good. He said that about 2 weeks ago. So maybe he's a week off, but thank you. That's why they pay the coaches. They actually know what they're talking about. That's why they're in the Mets organization. But they told me to keep an eye on him still. He was going to come out of it. So let's see how he builds off this one outing. The other pitcher to talk about in high A is Ramon Gomez, who now got promoted. So he had a debut in this week in high A. It was a scoreless outing. Don't even care about the numbers. I think they were maybe a hit, maybe a walk, and a strikeout. But he's still hitting over 101, 102 miles an hour. That's the important thing to mention with Ramon Gomez. Oh, yeah, by the way, he's that guy this season that hit 104.5. I'm interested to see a few more weeks out of him in high A. If he keeps throwing 100 plus, how's the walks? How's the overall strike throwing? I want a guy like this to end the season in Double A right away. I want this just to be a quick thing. High A is kind of a pitcher's league. The wind does numbers on people even when you hit the ball in the air. So I think he could dominate. I'm excited to see what the numbers are going to be in a few weeks, but I'm glad he's finally here in high A. How soon can you get to Double A? As far as the bats, I don't have all day to talk about the bats. I'm just going to just run off some OPSs, and I'm going to move on to St. Lucie because the entire Brooklyn Cyclones lineup is top 30 prospects. So Jacob Reimer, 1.085 OPS. You have to almost consider him the co-MVP of the Mets farm system as a hitter with his teammate, A.J. Ewing, who has an even 1,000 OPS through, Sunday. In case when you watch this video, these are the OPSs through Sunday, the 19th. Jacob Reimer, 1.085. A.J. Ewing, 1,000. They're both hitting. They're both hitting consistently. They're both hitting with power. A.J. Ewing is doing it with speed. Defensively, I'm still trying to feel things out with Jacob Reimer. I've seen him make some good plays defensively, but I want to see what it is in the long run. Again, I'm going to compare everyone now to Vientos. I don't know if he's even-ish with Vientos, a step above Vientos. And again, he's younger, and he's only an A-ball. So I'm curious to see that kind of progression defensively, but these offensive numbers are something that I really didn't expect. Again, he had like a missed season last year to injuries, so you can throw out last season's numbers. The seasons before that were in low A in the complex league, so they were really good. He was an OBP guy, but now he's an MVP guy so far through the end of May. So this is exciting stuff. Carson Benj, 919 OPS for this season for Carson Benj. One of the things I like about Carson Benj, it even literally happened last night in the game in the 10th inning. He ripped one opposite field for a ground rule double, I believe. He's been going opposite field since he joined the Mets organization. When he made his debut in pro ball in St. Lucie, he was hitting some home runs, oppo, hit to the wall, oppo. In Brooklyn, good idea for lefties to go oppo because when you hit it to right field, it doesn't always go anywhere, but in an outfielder's glove, ultimately, when the wind blows it in. So I'm still really excited about Carson Benj. He plays all 3 outfield positions. Again, between him, A.J. Ewing, they both can technically play center field. Nick Morabito, center field. A lot of center fielders all of a sudden in the Mets organization. But again, Benj is the college guy. So even though he just got drafted, he's a college pick. You want to see him kind of move fast. I would like to see Carson Benj in Double-A by the All-Star breaks, the minor league All-Star breaks. Maybe that's a good time to move him up. The Mets are going to have decisions to make anyway, even from Syracuse. They may have to release some veterans eventually to start making room for the prospects. My guy, Chris Dulce Suero, 873 OPS on the year. I believe his numbers have been lower now in May than in April, but the power still showing. I'm still keeping an eye on the catcher situation. He's still playing a lot of catcher, but also still seeing a little bit of time in the outfield. It seems like they want to keep having him play both for now. As Starling Mercado, I keep checking the MILB page every week. I want to see when he finally starts to become eligible for the batting titles and stuff in A-ball, because it looks like he's missed a certain amount of games at the beginning of the year. He hasn't qualified as a qualified hitter for the stats because he's got an 880 OPS right now. His batting average has been almost 350 the entire season through end of May. So I'm curious to see when he has enough at-bats to like literally be close to a batting title. And again, he's an outfielder as well. So I didn't really talk about him at all in the entire offseason, but I got to keep talking about him now. My favorite last hitter to talk about in Brooklyn, Jesus Baez. I got to do it. And I know he's basically hovering around the Mendoza line or lower all season in April, trying to get back from rehabbing in low A. He's in Brooklyn, still wasn't hitting. But now in May, he's hitting 288 with a 383 on-base percentage in May. I'm just hoping now that we're back to normal with Jesus Baez. I want to continue to keep an eye on some of the numbers. Again, he's a right-handed bat, so I want to see what kind of power numbers he can have in Brooklyn, hitting it the other way, pulling it. Don't go oppo in Brooklyn. Low A, I'll just kind of run off some of the names. I'm excited about certain players, and I believe one of those guys who's kind of stuck in low A, possibly one of those things where he's an undrafted free agent, I believe, that he signed, Haas Brewer. Here's his numbers for the entire season in low A. 17.2 innings, 10 hits, 2 earned runs, 6 walks, 23 strikeouts. His ERA is about 1-ish for the season in low A, and that's pitching even up to twice a week. He's just dominating. I believe he's 24 years old, but again, undrafted guy. Maybe they just want to see what they have in him. So far, so good. At some point, you got to reward a guy for putting up these numbers, regardless how you acquired him. On the flip side, I feel like I've been waiting forever for him. 20-year-old Wellington Wild Thing Aracena. He just randomly had the game of his professional career this week. 4 innings, only 1 hit, 0 walks. 0 earned runs, only 1 walk. For him, astounding. And 5 strikeouts. He's another one of those young kids who throws 98, 99 consistently when he wants. Sometimes he'll start the first pitch 94, 95, but it quickly goes to 98, 99 the rest of the way. So when you have a starter-ish who throws 98, 99, this is exciting. He's like another version of Ramon Gomez at this point. Maybe not the 104, but he can consistently go 99 at his peak. But I'm just excited about this best outing that could be possible for him. I want to see how he builds on it. I want to see how many innings he continues to pitch per outing. This was 4 innings for 1 outing. I was kind of surprised by that more than anything. Then when you get into the numbers, they were fantastic. Another one of those project arms, Will Watson. When I talked to staff about who do you like in spring, they mentioned other names, and then they were like, oh, and also Will Watson. Just keep an eye on him. I'm not saying get overly excited, but he's got stuff, and we're working on it. So I think they were trying to tell me to be patient with Will Watson and then see what happens. He had another really good week. This week he had a start, 4 2/3, 5 hits, 0 earned runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks. I want to continue to keep an eye on Will Watson. Staff told me to keep an eye on Will Watson. I want to see if he's going to make that jump to high A maybe in the second half. I want to see what they have in him. As far as the hitters to end this out, the youngest one is Jeremy Rodriguez. Now, here's the numbers. 184 batting average in May, but a 349 on-base percentage. What? He's got 13 walks to 10 Ks in May. So, and by the way, he's only 18 years old. It's got to be one of the youngest players in the Florida State League. So none of his numbers are exciting in the box scores, but I'll take 13 walks to 10K ratio for an 18-year-old in low A. And he also has 6 stolen bases. Defensively, you can move him around, second, short, third. I also don't believe he's an elite defensive player. So he's going to be a bat-first kid as well, bat-first guy going forward when he gets older. the organization is still pretty excited about him. And again, at this age, I can't believe he's even here. He's in low A at 18. So they're probably going to leave him at this level the entire season to let him eat 300, 350 at bats, see what they have. Another one of the young players, Trey Snyder, looks like he's really kind of seeing things out at this point. He was 5 for 20, I believe, in the whole month of May, or maybe in this recent series. Sorry. For this week, he's like 5 for 20. But for the month of May, he's got a 446 on base percentage because he's walked 17 times, but he's also struck out 20. His K rate is over 40% K rate in May. So looks like he's trying to feel things out overall. He'll take the walks. Ks, not so much, but it doesn't mean he's a future, three result, 3 outcome hitter. But let's slow things down on that. But it's interesting to see. Maybe he's just trying to feel out the entire level at this point, seeing pitches, recognizing pitches. Because I've talked to staff in the last few weeks, and they were pointing out some of the hitters that are really good now at recognizing the pitches. I remember they had called out Marco Vargas and they called out A.J. Ewing about 2 of the players who, among all the other successes, pitch recognition has improved in the offseason and spring. So maybe he's now feeling through that process. The other guy who's finally hitting everybody, Colin Houck. He's the one who was the draft before that in the first round that was like, oh, everyone's excited about the high school pick, first rounder. And then he struggled all last year. And then here he is repeating low A. And then he struggled in April in low A. But now all of a sudden, May, he's hitting 283 with a 371 on base percentage. I want to see how he continues to progress. Again, this is another kid, a little bit older than Jeremy Rodriguez, because everyone is, but I would keep him in low A pretty much the entire season. Even if it's repeating, I really don't care. He's about 20 years old anyway. It's fine. We got to get him to dominate, before you try to move him up. One of my favorite players who's been struggling, and I can't talk about him much this year, Daverson Gutierrez. At least for this last week, he's 5 for 17. 4 hits in the 5 games played this week. And for the month of May, 8 walks versus 6 Ks. So again, his batting average is low. I think it's below 200. But he's got more walks than Ks. He's been getting more hits in the last 4 games. I want to see how he builds on it now. Plus, he's a catcher, so wear and tear, let me use an excuse. But I do want to see more hitting from Daverson Gutierrez. But so far, so good-ish for the last week in general. My final player to talk about, Simone Juan. Again, he's the 19-year-old that was just rough in April, like rough. Hit about 160 in April. But here we are in May. We're another week in now, and I mentioned him last week. I'm going to mention it again. For the month of May, he's hitting 296. And he has 3 home runs in the month. So I want to see how he progresses now. Defensively, talk about that another time. But he does play the outfield. I want to see how much more progress he can make out there. But he's an interesting person out there in the outfield with a glove. So first things first, let's worry about the bat. And then lastly, just kind of worry about my page. And if you can continue to follow it, subscribe to it, give me a shot. I'm going to try to give as much information ongoing as possible. Make your comments on the YouTube channel show. I'll try to comment from the page. If you have any other information or you want to ask about other players I didn't talk about this week, let me know. I'm here, as always. The man, the myth, the legend, the prospect hugger. I'll see you all next time.